Hi, this is Martin for Revelation Software, and I've got another OpenInsight Quick Start Guide video for you today. And in this video we're going to be looking at adding some buttons to our form. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go into our clinic application and we'll open up the Forms Designer and our patient entry window. Now, most applications these days, they have buttons within the form and also a toolbar across the top with your open, close, save, delete, all those sorts of buttons. And we can very quickly turn on the system toolbar, enabling the button bar here by clicking OK, and that will give us the ability to open and save, delete records, run QBF and move backwards and forwards through the records. But you might want to actually do more than just having these few buttons. You might want to take a little bit more control. So once you're going to turn that off, and rather than actually create a button bar like that, what I'm going to do is to create two very simple buttons. One that's going to be used to have a quick event and one that will get a little bit more involved with some scripting. Now, this style of button would normally be used on like a dialog window rather than the top, but we've already seen how we can use buttons within our form, this one for getting our path. So let's go ahead and start looking at these two. Now the first one we're going to call btn_save, and the text on that button is simply going to be save. So that's a visual indicator to the user on what that button will do. And we'll go btn_close. Again, I'm just using my naming convention for the control names, and we'll have that as close as well. So we've got our two buttons, and the user can very quickly and easily see what they're going to do. One's going to save the record, one's going to close the form. Now, to actually make these do something, what we can do is go into the properties and into the events. And the quick event, there are a number of quick events in here. Some of these are associated with buttons specifically, so close the window, read the row, write the row, clear the form, etc. And on this one what we want to do is on the save we want to write the row to the database. Clicking the quick event in the list here immediately sets all of the properties etc. for us, so we can just click OK to that one. And again the same for close. We can go into the events and we can select the close window event and OK that, and pretty much we're done. We can now go ahead and we can test run that form, and we're presented with our next record ID, so I can tab through and I can put in here Bilbo Baggins. Yep, been reading Tolkien just recently, and we can save that, and on the save it will save the record, clear the form, give us the next hospital number. If I go back to 18, then I can read in, and you can see that that data has already been saved for us. And clicking the close button now. Now again, what I should have said is, with these two buttons we are duplicating everything, which is typical in the Windows environment. We could have gone File and Save using our File menu. We didn't. We just used the Save button. And when we're closing the window, we've now got three options. We could either click the red button here, we could go File and Exit, or alternatively we can just close, and that will take us out of our application. So that's all there is really to creating a couple of very simple buttons. But we might want to do something a little bit more complicated. For instance, we might want to have some buttons at the top here which would normally have an image rather than actual words, or a mix of image and words, and it's that we're going to go and simulate now using these two buttons. What we're going to do is we're going to drop an image on the save button and then just change some code behind the scenes to make that enabled and disabled. So what we'll do is we'll just come out of here for the moment, and we'll go into our paint program. I happen to be using Adobe Photoshop here, and I happen to have on my machine a couple of files. I've got a template for a button, and I have also got a 16 by 16 image as well. And what we'll do is we'll just put these two side by side so we can see what's going on, and I'm going to make these a little bit larger. So again, so that you can see what I'm doing here. Now I'm not saying this is the right way to create buttons, this is just something that works for me. I'm going to make sure that I'm on the pencil tool button. I'm going to select my red colour, and what I usually do is just drop in a pixel in the very top left hand corner of this particular image. Now if you are working with bitmaps and OpenInsight, something that's worth remembering is for transparency it takes the colour of the pixel that's in the very top left hand corner, so you really want to be using a colour that isn't within the rest of the image anywhere, because if you do set it to transparency, obviously you might want that to show. I wouldn't on this particular instance, but there are times when you would want to. So what we'll do is we'll just grab all of that, we'll copy, and we'll go back over to our button and we'll paste that particular image in there. Now the reason why I've got the little red dots on there is so that I can line up the graphic quite nicely. So we'll just move this across and line that up with that red dot, and then we'll drop another one on there and just make sure that that's lined up with that dot as well. We'll then go back to the main image and we'll change that to be grayscale. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Control C, go back into there, Control V, and then we'll just move that across so that again it lines up with our little red dot. Now it makes everything's all going to line up properly. Once we're done, we're finished with obviously the main graphic, and what I now need to do is just to go into here and we'll change the colour to be the background, go into the pencil tool and just colour in that particular pixel, and we'll do the same over here for the disabled version, and we'll also do the same for this particular part of it. Now I'm using a 3-state button here, and that will become, well, the reason for that will become evident in a moment. And we'll go File, and we will save as. Now I'm going to save this as a PNG file just because that's what I tend to do, and I'm just going to make sure that it's in my clinic data, and within there I've got a folder called images, and what I'll do is I'll just call this btn underscore save, so it's the same as the actual entity within OpenInsight. We'll save that away. Okay, once we're done with that, we can close out of our paint program. No, I don't want to update that one, and then we can go back to our forms design.